Let's see. Here we go. I hope your dizziness passes. That sucks. I hate being dizzy. I like being busy, just not dizzy. Dizzy's no good.
Yeah, I'd rather be busy than dizzy.
Yeah.
But if it has to be a combo, then I guess.
Dizzy's only good for Gillespie's and
Dean's.
I couldn't think of another one, so I'm glad you did.
Well, Dizzy Gillespie and Dizzy Dean.
There you go. Okay. Here goes then. Tape is rolling? Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Yep.
Actually, I think you're thinking of Ziggy, not Dizzy.
Yeah.
Ziggy Marley.
Ziggy Marley. There's no Dizzy Marley, I don't think.
No Dizzy Marley.
No. That's a great name for a Marley, though.
All right. It is Dizzy Marley. All right, anyway.
All right, here we go. It starts in 3, 2, 1. Coming up on TMS, it wasn't bait, I swear.
You got DP in my escape key.
Nick will be 67 by then.
Tasty human tears.
Don't mess with Dumbo.
I'm still laughing at DP in my escape key. We've seen Pumba now.
Therapy Thursday and more on this episode of The Morning Stream.
When my sister told me she was eating cat hair, I was shocked. It is strange. I don't think she should be eating it.
You're all a lot of hooey to me.
Do dogs have brains? Because I'd like seriously wanted to know. This is The Morning Stream.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another TMS episode. It is The Morning Stream for Thursday, April 11th, 2019. I'm Scott Johnson. He's Brian Ibbett. Good morning.
Hello. Hi.
Did you get that snow you said you were going to get, or did it not happen yet? Because we got it. We have snow. I have 2 inches out there right now.
Yeah, that's about all we got. And as of 8:30, local Joe in the weather center says we're not planning on getting any more. So snowpocalypse has ended.
Good.
It was not even enough to, here in Arvada at least, not even enough to really collect on the sidewalks and driveways and streets. So it's
I guess the Midwest is getting it.
It was a big bust, is what it was.
People in Minnesota is getting it bad. A few other people are getting it bad, but you got. It looks like you just got the skirts.
We dodged that snow bullet.
Yeah, April, dude, freaking April.
Yeah,
lame.
That's what it is, man.
Lame. Anyway, I grew up 2 inches last night. Does not sound like a nice thing to say on the air. All right.
No, but it's already a show title.
It's already out there. Fantastic. Hey, so it's a weird morning. I gotta share a thing here with you. Mm-hmm. So I learned this morning, like a lot of people did, that and we're not going to get into any of the political ramifications of this. I don't care to do any of that on the show. But Julian Assange was arrested today. Mm-hmm. The Ecuadorian consulate there finally said, he's a mess. We don't want to do this anymore.
Hey, police, come on in. If you want him, you can have him. He hasn't been really taking care of his place very well.
No, he's all disgusting. His cat's been missing for months. We don't know what's going on. Just whatever. And they went in. So they got him. There's extradition process happening now to bring him to the States and charge him with basically hacking. Back in 2010, he tried to hack government computers or something and stole a bunch of documents.
Successfully, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's probably hosed. There's a lot of people, freaking out saying, oh, they're silencing whatever. And I'm like, whatever. I don't want to get into any of that. That's not my point here. And that kind of leads me to why this is so weird this morning. So I see this video of him getting dragged out of the thing, and they drag him out.
They totally drag him out. They carry him out horizontally, like he's like they're moving a mannequin out of a Ross Dress for Less.
Totally. And you know how you've seen a million photos of Julian Assange that look like TED Talk photos or something. He's just clean shaven,
clean cut,
normal haircut, all that. That is not what they pulled out of that place. They pulled out of that place a Randy Quaid ass looking, freaked out, yelling, "Don't power to the people, can't stop the signal," that whole thing. And they're yanking him out, dragging him out like that. And he's got that big bushy white beard thing, which I didn't expect. But then also I immediately had this feeling of like, when they finally catch up to Mr. Lundergaard in Fargo, the movie, and they catch him finally, and he's freaking out. I can't remember what he did. He tried to jump out the window.
Yeah, I think so, and they got stuck, or what was the deal? He
was in his underwear, and he was crying, and I can't remember.
Right.
But because
it was very,
very reminiscent of that to me.
Sure.
That's what it looked like. And so I get on Twitter and I go, it's impossible for me not to see Lundergaard going off here in this video. And then I put a GIF of what's her name, the cop lady. I can think of her name all of a sudden.
Oh, Marge Gunderson?
Marge going, yeah, or whatever, just like nodding my head.
Sure.
And so I put that up, no big deal. It's purely the observation of the surface of the video,
right.
Surface view. Like, I don't have
right.
anything else to say about it.
You're comparing one visual thing to another visual thing, not the elements of the case to the other elements of the case,
right?
Or anything like
Which
that.
is 100% the way my brain works most of the time. Most of the time,
Sure.
my brain is a visual intake device. I see a thing, it comes in, it computes, and oftentimes it gets all bound up in all my other things I'm interested in or think about. And then this is like a lot of people, but if you're a very visual thinker, that you think of that stuff first and you think of the substance later. It's just how it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I do that. I put it up there. No big deal. Immediately, I get people going, your government has taken one step too far. This is the beginning of the end. Like, just completely going after me for this thing. And I'm like, no. It just I don't care. I mean, that's all fine. It
looked like Fargo. That's all.
It's just Fargo. Let's all watch Fargo. Like that. And I know I'm supposed to just mute that stuff or whatever, but I went and looked at this one guy's timeline, and he says mostly nice things all the time. He's taking pictures. He lives in Australia somewhere, and he's always like, hey, look at this beautiful sunset, and look at this thing over here. For some reason, he's got a serious... I almost said boner. He's got a serious thing for this Assange business.
And
I don't know why. And I understand... so here it is. Big T 2000 says it's because of the silencing of journalism. I mean, is Julian Assange a journalist? I thought he just hacked people and leaked stuff. Like, he's not
that. Well, that's the case. I mean, it depends on your definition of journalism. If you equate, and I'm not saying that it isn't, but I'm saying you could look at this from multiple ways. If you equate hacking into the government and getting documents and emails and all this information and then leaking classified information out to the world as journalism, then it's journalism.
But it's also like illegal and always has been. It's not like it's suddenly a draconian decision to shut that stuff down. That's always been illegal. So I guess I don't get it. Also, we do need Justin for this. So Tuesday we'll get Justin in. He can give us the full schmear. But I don't understand why. Okay, you know what this is? I just realized what this is. This is just another example of me, naively or not, trying to bend the internet to my will and have them understand that all I was doing was saying, hey, he's kind of freaky looking in his beard and he looks like he's all whacked out. And that's it. That's it.
Yes.
That's all I wanted to say about it.
I know.
And that was it.
Like, I made the comment to you, dude looks like Randy Quaid when they yanked him out of there. Somebody like, oh, Randy Quaid was falsely accused of the stuff that he did and he's in extradition in Canada because... because of the shitter's full.
Exactly. You'd had enough. There were so many shitters that were full, and that was it. It broke his back, and he had to go to Canada. But like in his case, it was like this fully self-perpetuated thing. Whereas Assange has been a huge news item for a decade or more, and and
Randy Quaid did it because he wanted to. Assange did it because he
had to. There you go. But then, like just this back and forth of Assange as a tool of the Russian government to Assange is the most important free voice in the history of America, or all this. Like, that's not what I wanted today. What I wanted today was, ooh, he's all disheveled and he's got shit all over him and his beard is weird. That's all I was doing.
Right.
I mean, okay, so here it is. Crepton, that's in the chat room, I'm not saying that name right, says, I think making light of what some take very seriously is what offends them. I'm not making light of it at all. I guess I'm making light of his physical appearance and his disheveled nature. Like, what is it like in there? I assumed it was nice and had Didn't they film it once where it was like a nice place?
Like it's a nice little apartment, right? Like it's a, you know,
right,
nice, like IKEA looking, Ecuadorian IKEA looking apartment.
Right. And so him coming out of there looking like he has been in a cave with, you know, Alan Moore for a week complaining about film adaptations of your comics.
It's just funny that it felt like it wasn't that long ago that we saw Julian Assange walk out onto his balcony and, you know, hey, free the power, blah, blah, blah. And his, you know, his hair was nicely arranged and combed and no beard, just kind of, yes, right, look all clean shaven. And it's like all the white hair that was on the top of his head all looking good had disappeared and all migrated south for the winter. And like all on his chin is scraggly Randy Quaid looking beard.
Right. And I think it's just interesting because
I know Rainbow Brand, I said free the power, but I'm just saying, like,
yeah, I know you
like,
meant.
Come on,
it's
like,
just like whatever. Yeah, you just spit out your diatribe and there it is. Right. But I guess you know, I don't know. I don't know what to think of it when people get mad about this. I mean, I do get that it's a volatile issue. I don't know why Pamela Anderson has so much to say about it. What's her deal?
Yeah, why is she complaining about it? Well, he looks weird. But that was a bizarre take. Like, you know, get Pamela Anderson on the phone. Get her point of view.
Well, there's some talk she was dating him or she visited him there or something.
Oh,
so maybe
really?
that's the connection. But I didn't know about that. Like that's crazy. Yeah.
Here's the way to think about it, Scott.
Yeah.
You reach thousands of people via your Twitter feed.
Sure.
If you go to a grocery store to the produce section and you look over the entire thing of bananas, like, oh, look at all these bananas here in the produce section. Look at all these great bananas. All of these bananas. Well, there's a couple bananas that aren't going to be very good.
Okay.
And that's the way to think about it. You're firing a shotgun out into the masses, and it's going to ricochet off of a couple of spare boulders
and bananas. Right. I like the banana. I like the banana comparison. I think that's
the banana comparison.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm feeling like I'm doing a Scott level analogy.
Well, here's the great thing about this is a separate subject, but the great thing about bruised and crappy bananas, even if they're in the bunch that looks fine. Yeah. You can always make banana bread out of those. Always.
Actually, you know my new thing? I'm glad we're moving off of this and onto something else.
Sure.
Here's the new thing. All right, you go and you get your bananas, and you get like 5 or 6 in the beginning of the week, and you eat them, and maybe like by the end of the week, before you're ready to go get more bananas, you've got like 2 in there. Not looking great, but they're still good.
Yeah.
You put those in a Tupperware. You peel them first.
Okay.
Make sure you peel them first.
Okay.
Put them in Tupperware. Put them in the freezer. And then next time you want a smoothie, instead of reaching for the vanilla ice cream to mix in there, you take those bananas, which are frozen and ice cream level toughness, mix them with some almond milk, a little bit of cocoa powder, a little bit of Splenda or some sort of sweetener. Boom, you get yourself a rockin' smoothie.
Wow. I had never thought of that. Doesn't it just taste like a wet, cold banana? Or no?
No. It's amazing. Frozen bananas, there's a reason Disney makes such a killing on those damn frozen bananas dipped in chocolate. It's like freaking ice cream.
I hadn't thought about that. They do that. That's a treat for people.
It is a treat for people. And it's amazing. It's really, really good, and it's better than it should be. It's better than you think it should be because it's a banana.
But if it's banana you put in a Tupperware thing and freeze, and it's all bruisey and kind of brown and stuff. Isn't that
the outside? The peel is bruisey and kind of brown. I mean, the inside still,
for
the most part, looks like a regular banana.
Okay.
It's maybe a little bit squishier, but you're freezing it, so the squishiness is not an issue.
And do you do anything to curb the banana flavor, or do you just go with the banana flavor? It's like, oh, this is banana flavored.
You got a problem with banana flavor?
No. Now that you say it, no. I like it. I like banana flavor.
There's no problem with banana flavor. Banana flavor is great unless it's that fake Runts banana flavoring.
Yeah, good point. Oh my gosh, the Runts bananas are the worst banana flavorings.
They're the worst flavor. Banana flavor.
Actually, speaking of fruit, I just thought of this, and I know that this is, again, a totally off topic, but when I start with Julian Assange's arrest and move on to bananas and now pineapple. So here's my pineapple question.
Okay.
Like a month ago, there was a bunch of viral videos being passed around of people pulling one apart.
You pull the pineapple apart based on those, I want to call them eyes, but like potato eyes, but they're like the seeds, basically the outer seeds.
Yeah, and they just yank them out and then eat it like that. I know. Is that even a thing? I've never heard of that.
I haven't tried it since, but looking at that video, it was like, oh, I want to try this now. How is that possible?
I'm going to have Kim pick up a pineapple today, and we're going to try that, because that blows my mind. Like, my whole life? Really? Of all the pineapple I've had, and I've had a lot of pineapple in my life, all this time, I wasn't told you could just kind of pick at it and pull it apart like a freaking... I'm trying to think of another fruit that's like this. I don't know. There's nothing like this. Is there other things like this?
I mean, the first thing I think about obviously are grapes, but those obviously separated on a vine and that sort of thing. But you still eat them,
one
separately
at a time,
as opposed to right.
That blows my mind. I can't believe this is a thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Dole has been hiding this information, like, if we let this get out, then our pineapple rings, our cans of pineapple rings are history.
Yeah,
people won't want our cans of pineapple rings anymore.
They'll get real pineapples that aren't soaked in formaldehyde.
It's kept down by Big Dole.
Yeah, Big Dole. Exactly.
Dole.
Big pineapple. Big apple. Well, that doesn't work. That's New York City. But anyway, they're like, okay, there you go. It's like a pomegranate, kind of, sort of.
Sort of, yeah.
Except those are messy and stainy, kind of awful.
Yeah.
Not a fan of those.
Yeah, I seriously can't think of a fruit that you pull apart like monkey bread.
Oh, right. Yeah, like monkey bread. There you go.
You pull it apart like monkey bread, yeah.
There you go. I was trying to think of a good comparison, but there was no other fruit that does it, but plenty of other foods that do. Like monkey bread, or like one of those big pull-apart cinnamon roll style pull-apart unit deals. It's a little like that. Here's a fun fact, says Sidian. Pineapple is so acidic that handling it in the Dole plants burned off the workers' fingerprints, kind of Men in Black style. They didn't have any fingerprints when they were done, So now they're like, what is it, just little smooth little fingers? And what if they commit a crime? Oh, no. Right. Build a wall.
To find out exactly, there's a big theft going on in Hawaii, but there are no fingerprints at the scene.
What happened to all the pineapple? We'll never know. Anyway, so there's that. And then now I need advice. I need help. I have this keyboard. See this?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I bought this.
I have one like that too.
Got this.
Mine's. I have the without number pad variety, but I do have the wireless.
All right, cool. So
I also don't have the space gray version of that.
Space gray. So I get this. I pick nothing up my sleeve. Anyway, I picked this up for Father's Day, was it, or something? Because Kim took me out and says, get something. I said, okay, I got it. So that's great and everything. But the other day, I think it was on a show I was doing live with Tom, if I remember.
Okay.
And I had a Dr. Pepper about the size of this water bottle.
All right.
And I was getting all gesticulaty, kind of swinging my hands around.
Flailing about, were you?
Yes. I was trying to explain something cool. I don't know what it was, but I whacked this bottle, and it tipped over, and it dumped Dr. Pepper mostly around the keyboard and on this big pad I have and underneath the monitor stand. But one splash got right on, and only on, and therefore inside, the escape key. Now, my escape key feels like I'm pushing on mud. Like it's just a weird...
Kind of like it stays stuck down probably.
Yeah. Like a game... You ever have a game controller where it got a little sticky in there because the kids ate something with it?
Sure. Oh, worst is the remotes. Like if the kids are... the kids. If I have multiple. There's one kid. One kid. Easy to blame.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, there'd be a key where it's like, why is the Apple TV remote like staying pressed down when I press it?
Exactly. This is what's happening here. And now, right now, I've blown on it and I've also tapped it enough where it's pretty loose. But if I let that sit for a while, that's going to go back to being a nightmare. So the question is, this is one of those new, not haptic, what do they call it? Membrane
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, because with this one, a little thin screwdriver, you prop off the key.
Yeah.
Clean it with a Q-tip and some alcohol.
That's what I was gonna do, but I don't know that if I do that here,
You should be able to still pop those off. The membrane is below the scissor mechanism.
I mean, like my PC keyboard, I can just yank a key off. It's like no big deal because it's a mechanical one. But because this thing is so, I just worry that thing's so thin that there's some. I gotta look at it. Maybe you know what the internet would tell me probably, and I just never thought to Google it.
Right.
But yeah, iFixit or like Jay Calhoun just said, or JC Calhoun, that iFixit's probably done a teardown on this.
iFixit's definitely,
So we could probably find out how easy it is, but I'm just terrified because I don't want to ruin this thing and have a crack. I hate a keyboard where one key is jacked. I hate it. It's almost better that half the keyboard is jacked.
Because that's like, it's a lot easier to justify replacing it. But when you got one key, and it's a key you use a lot. Escape is, use that a lot.
I don't want to gross anyone out.
You're playing World of Warcraft. You're like, I think I'm done for the day. You hit that escape key, and you escape out of World of Warcraft.
Yeah. I don't want to freak anybody out or gross anybody out. It smells a little like Dr. Pepper. It's a little Dr. Peppery.
Oh, well, it's
not a bad smell.
Probably better than what your delete key smells like.
Yeah. Oh, I also have a recommendation. Sorry, this is crazy today because I got ideas.
All right.
So, I snore. When I was at my skinniest, I never snored, but I snore now.
Sure.
And it drives Kim crazy. And I have this app that tracks it, and it tells me how much I'm snoring at night. And there were times in the last couple of weeks where I was snoring for a combined total. It's usually spread out, right? But a combined total of like, an hour and a half of the night is me snoring, which is
an hour and a half of probably the 6 or 7 hours.
Yes. Yeah.
You get.
That's a lot, right?
It is a lot. Yes.
I would agree. So,
would you like my CPAP, Scott?
Yes, I would like a secondhand CPAP, please. That'd be lovely. So, anyway, what usually helps, if I sleep on my side, I'm usually a lot better. But, I roll around at night and then hour and a half, wakes Kim up. It sucks. It's all lame. And this thing records it. So it tells me when I snored, and it has a recording of the snoring. And then tells me the total time. So I found these. Somebody was selling these on Amazon. Kim found them. They're just like this. It's tied together with a little tether between, but they're like a little binocular-looking nose inserts.
Oh, okay.
I've seen the outer ones that kind of pinch your nose or whatever.
Yeah.
This isn't that. These are like, what are those called? Something rights? Sleep rights or?
Breathe rights.
Breathe
right strips. Yeah, except those are adhesive that pull your nose apart.
Right.
Do these binocular things, they're hollow like little cylinders?
Yes.
Little empty cylinders?
Yes. And they have a little ridge on the end that like kind of kickstands your nose open. So it's like this little, and you jam them up there, and it looks super stupid. But I went from hour and 45 minutes total snore time to 3.5 minutes last night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think that's pretty good. And it's crazy because it just makes you feel like you're just getting all the air. It's just coming in, man. Just coming in.
Yeah. So what are these little binoculator things called?
That would help if I wanted to actually give a recommendation. Hold on.
Yeah.
Amazon.
I'm looking at Snore Stop.
Snore Stop, maybe.
Those look like little baskets. Do they look like little baskets?
No, they're more like binoculars. They look like little hollow binoculars.
Enclosed binoculars.
Yeah. Let me see. I'll look at my orders. Here we go. These are called Doorooz, Doorooz, anti-snoring device set. Oh, they actually come with a mouth guard bit too, which I haven't tried yet, but it's supposed to help it even more. But anyway, these are 2 anti-snoring mouthpieces, sleep guards, and 8 silicone nasal dilators. Okay, nasal dilators. Or / snoring nose vents. I love it. Snoring nose vents. That's awesome. Anyway, they were like $20 for the whole set, and you get like a whole ton of them. And it totally worked.
That's interesting.
So if you got like a snory, I know we got snory listeners. I guarantee it. It totally freaking worked. And my wife's like, "Oh my gosh, I haven't heard you snore in 3 days." So anyway,
that's great. Wow, that's huge.
Just want to throw it out there.
Snore no. There's like a anti-snoring nose vent set of 4 premium quality nasal dilators with travel case called Snore no.
Snore no. It looks like there's a lot of competing stuff in here.
There really is.
We went with the brand that had slightly better reviews. And I've used the same too. It comes, like it says, with 8 of these things, but I've only still used the one because they clean just fine. They're not like throwaways. Yeah. The mouth guard part I haven't done yet, but apparently that helps too. So anyway, there you go. And I'm looking. Oh wow, that guy's got him all the way up his nose. I'm not doing that. Oh, this photo makes me think I'm doing it wrong. Because this guy's got him jammed up there, man. All right, I better take a look at that.
This is really funny because, like, I did a search for nose vents or something like that, trying to find the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's like picture after picture of these, like, you know, like you say, the binoculars and the nose vents and the and this and that. There are 2 photos of the same family. A family of 4 all sleeping in the same bed, but there's different things jammed in the dad's nose, but it's exactly the same photo. Just somebody photoshopped in a thing in his nose on one and photoshopped in a thing in his nose on 2.
Great.
And then after all this, right in the middle of it, you get Five Nights at Freddy's 3.
What? Really?
Just like an ad for Five Nights, not an ad, but like somehow Five Nights at Freddy's came up as a recommended thing, like amongst all the nose vents.
Wow.
Completely surrounded on all sides by nose vents, Snore Stopper, Snore Solution, Five Nights at Freddy's 3.
5 snore vents at Freddy's. It was a fantastic sequel.
Yes,
it was real good.
Such a great.
Oh man.
Great game.
Never forget how good that game was. It was incredible.
Oh, right. Incredible.
Well, we've all learned something.
This is your radio newscaster with another exclusive sensational summary of world and local events.
Time for us to do the news, and it's brought to you by
America's Next Top Podcaster. The finale posted last night. So now the whole series is up and ready for you to listen to. Listen to it all. Binge the whole damn thing and enjoy it. Find out the whole course of the project that was years in the making. Putting together 12 contestants to compete and find out who the America's Next Top Podcaster is. And binge it all before next week when we air the reunion special, and you get to hear what everybody's been up to in the 7 days since the finale.
Yeah, no kidding.
You'll find out all that stuff, and it'll also prepare you for the series that Alex Albisu, tadpooler and contestant, won't say where he is in the spectrum of America's Next Top Podcaster contestants, but he's doing interview specials with each contestant, judge, coach, and producer to talk about the experience and see what the stories that you didn't get from the shows.
Well,
so
Alex is a adept interviewer. He's real good at it.
He is, and one of his submissions perfectly led into him doing this. So it was a great lead-in to his new project for ANTP. So really happy to have him be part of this. Anyway, the series came out great. I couldn't be happier with how it all went. So listen to it today. America's Next Top Podcaster, Google Play, iTunes, or America's Next Top Podcaster.com.
Nice. Nobody fainted or anything, so it's all good.
No, at least not that we know of. We had people cry. Jury made people cry.
Yeah, Justin always makes people cry. He makes them cry on this show, so this isn't that unusual. He leaves me in tears every Tuesday. So.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I can't take it, Scott.
Rough piece of business, that jury.
That's right.
I wanted to ask you a question. Sorry, this news is ready, but I'm going to tell you a question.
Sure. Tell me a question. Ask me an answer.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
So Apple announced they're phasing iTunes out, and they're going to make standalone.
Have they? I've heard people speculating on this, but I've not heard official news from Apple that they're phasing.
Right,
iTunes
that's a
out.
good point. I don't know how substantiated any of this is yet.
Somebody found mention in some Apple code of iTunes getting split into the TV app, the movie app, and a music app.
Yeah, my understanding is you're going to have a podcast. Well, they already have a podcast standalone app, but even on the Mac side, you're going to end up with software that is a and possibly Windows, a podcasting app, an application that is purely for Apple Music, an application that's purely for the video store and all that stuff. And those would all be separate things. Also, more web versions of those things. So, web-enabled stuff instead of having to have an application for it, which I think is a good idea. And they would only keep iTunes around for syncing older devices, because some older devices, that's how you sync them. There's no other way to do it.
Right.
And so it will probably hang about. But my question is, the reason I'm throwing this out there, I rely on it. I know you rely on it because you have a gigantic library of music.
I rely tremendously on that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of speculation. I mean, that, even what you've been reading from and what I've been reading from about this is a lot of speculation. There's nothing that I've read. Your mileage may differ, but there's nothing that I read that said that the music app is going to be purely Apple Music and nothing else. Because, I mean, right now they make, I don't know how much they make from, what is that called? Apple iCloud Music Library, where you can upload 25,000, a library if it's up to 25,000 songs or up to 100,000 songs.
Yeah.
And have it available on all your devices. 90%, well, all right, maybe not 90, but I'd say a good 60% of the music in my library is not available on streaming services. It's either
that's a lot.
very, very independent stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's the stuff I get now is new and usually is available on streaming, but a lot of this older stuff, no way.
Yeah.
Like, much of it is.
The main thing I'm thinking of is it's not so much that you wouldn't. I mean, the whole point is that I'm thinking if they do deprecate it, and it's whatever they do,
which they need to, because it's such. iTunes is a bloated mess because they jammed all that video, movies, TV.
They just kept adding
all this other stuff. Yeah, books. It has needed to be separate.
The day they added video, I just went, "What are you guys doing?" Like iTunes, and the name doesn't even make sense anymore. It's such a dumb name.
Right.
So anyway, what I was going to throw out there is if anybody out there listening has, and I've been looking around because I have a similar issue, but not nearly like you have. Mine's mostly for show stuff. I just need good local file management for audio, and I looked at a whole bunch of like open source solutions. There's stuff for Mac and Windows that are all that claim to be great iTunes alternatives, or whatever.
Jet Audio is one I keep hearing getting thrown out a lot.
Jet Audio, I haven't heard of that one. Why?
Jet Audio, yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, I just put it out there just to say, hey, there's something to.
Yeah, I have 109,556 items in my library now. There's probably a lot of duplicates. There are a lot of podcasts that can be taken out of there. I mean, I don't delete my Coverville episodes when I put them in here, so that's something that could definitely get deleted and probably bring it back down to under 100,000 with duplicates and stuff.
With those, I just put I back up all my shows on a old drive and the cloud, but I take them out of my library just so they're not bogging it down with like 3-hour files.
Yeah, I need something that obviously has the ability to look at all the ID3 tags, not just the V2, but also like the V3 and V4 ID3 tags, the newer ones with all the like description grouping, stuff like that. I use a lot of tools to organize the library, and I need something that can do Boolean smart playlists from that information.
Right.
Because those are integral to the way that I do my show. So
there's got to be something out there as an alternative, or maybe all this is for naught and they're just going to. I mean, what would be really cool is if they kept supporting it, but just trimmed it down to its basics. Yeah, to make it just make it a really good music manager thing again, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like
right. I mean, keep the iTunes music functionality and the Apple Music stuff built in there, but strip everything else out. Video, TV. Even podcasts could be its own.
Well, that looks like that's happening for sure.
Yeah.
That appears to be
audiobooks should be a separate thing.
Yeah, that appears to be happening regardless. But anyway, this is something to think about. I mean, I got to manage all these fart sounds somehow. I have so many fart sounds. Like this one. Here's one of our president farting.
I've been telling everybody, be careful. Nobody has a clue.
See?
Wow, that did not sound edited one bit.
Not at all, right? Here's another one.
You can see better and feel better.
See? We got to keep that one.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
We call a tornado is just a little fart.
Oh. Some of these are just, oh, here. There's a little fart for you. You like that
that's
one?
a little tiny one, yeah.
See, I got to keep these. How else am I going to manage these? So somebody help us.
Clementine people are.
Oh, yeah. Clementine I downloaded last night. I haven't tried it yet, but I downloaded it.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that one's okay. And I think that's free.
Feature rich right out of the box.
Yeah. I need to be able to. I have a lot of. I have some very specific Scott needs that I don't know if anyone supports. iTunes.
You and me both.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh yeah, it does. So Clementine does do smart playlists, dynamic playlists. Interesting. It's just the big complaint people have is that it doesn't feel like a native Mac app. It feels clunky, and that's also kind of a big thing for me. Is like, well, if I'm giving up bloatware for clunkiness, I don't know if it's such a positive trade-off.
Is the clunk just UI design, but otherwise runs great, or is it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very open source, Big T. That is absolutely true. Mm-hmm. Open source, that's my biggest problem. Open source is awesome. Under the hood, everything open source is your friend. It's so great. Yeah. Yeah. And it improves all the time, and it's so great. But nobody in the open source community knows how to make good-looking UI. They just don't know how to do it. They're all just sitting around going, dude, what if it had a big old button in front of it, dude? Anyway, here's the news. Let's talk
about the news. Yeah.
A 3-year-old boy got a hold of his dad's iPad and repeatedly entered the wrong password. His dad's iPad is now locked completely and inaccessible until the year 2067.
I don't even know how you do this, because isn't it like after 3 or 4 lockout or 3 or 4 attempts, it says locked out for 24 hours or something like that? It's not like you get to keep putting in passwords and upping that number. It's not principal or Vernon, teacher Vernon adding on to John Bender's detention sentence saying, all right, now you got 4 days. Okay, now you got 5 days detention. You want to push it? You want more?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It says here, he put out a tweet. It says, it's our iPad today after the 3-year-old tried to repeatedly unlock it. Any ideas? Then there's a photo of the thing, and they showed on the screen a mind-boggling 25,536,422 minutes to try again. That's more than 48 years. So someone's going to get born and live as long as me and you before anybody can get into that. Before they can open
this one back up.
Yeah.
It seems crazy. The more times an incorrect password is entered, the longer the lockout time grows, which is what CNN says. Yeah. Or says, but says. That's what CNN says. I don't understand. I honestly don't understand how this is possible.
Yeah, it seems pretty crazy. There's got to be a way to take it into a thing, and they'll.
Well, no, he says that if you put it in DFU mode, mm-hmm. Basically, you restore it, but you don't hold down the sleep and power button too long, or you end up in recovery mode. It will. Device firmware update mode is what DFU mode is.
Oh, DFU.
DFU mode.
My favorite is how many people in the thread just put it in a bag of rice.
I love that. That's what it is, yeah.
That's pretty good. All right. Well, hopefully you get
reboot the 3-year-old.
Yeah. And teach the 3-year-old give him his own password and teach him how to do it. This is a learning experience.
That is not a shared expensive iPad. I think they make little Leap Pad things still, right? That you can give your kids that are a little bit more toddler friendly.
BioCal makes the point he'll still lose all his data. Well, if he's backing his stuff up, he won't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Always back it up to the cloud. The cloud, man. The cloud. Dumbass. Scott, the cloud.
The cloud. Welcome to the cloud.
The cloud.
The cloud. Hey, we have clouds in our background today behind our videos.
Oh, look at that.
Look at all that data.
Like I'm in a self-help awareness seminar.
Yeah. The glass isn't half full. It's half. No, it's the other way around. Get that backwards.
Make today your best day.
Yeah. I hate that stuff.
Be mindful.
Yeah. Be mindful.
Live a mindful life.
Are you your true self today?
Focus on your wellness today.
Your wellness. I hate wellness. That word, wellness. Oh, I hate it. Look, I want everyone to feel good. I do. I want you to feel well. I want you to be well. But I'm not going to use the word wellness, especially like, well, if you'll try our broad line of wellness products. No. No, I'm not going to.
Yeah. No.
No, thanks. All right. Let's talk about this one here.
Are you focusing on your mindfulness, Scott?
Mindfulness. Well, mindfulness is an actual thing. I still hate the word.
Yeah.
Like the science behind mindfulness is awesome.
That don't feel like you're jamming three words together that don't belong together. Like wellness feels like two words jammed together that don't belong together.
I agree. I was watching. Well, you can probably tell from the top of the show because of this lady right here. Hold on.
When my sister told me she was eating cat hair, I was shocked. It is strange. I don't think she should be eating it.
It was.
I don't think she should be eating that. Yeah.
It's that My Strange Addiction thing or whatever it's called on TLC. It was on Netflix, and I just happened to be watching it. And there's two things. They always do two stories at once. One of them was that one where the sister's eating cat hair, just constantly eating cat hair. She can't stop.
Mm-hmm.
And she
right
sits
off the cat?
Yeah,
Fresh?
and she's licking it off the cat.
Is she really?
Yes.
It's not like she's
Yeah, she says, I won't go near his bum and I won't go near his paws where they've been in the litter
good
thing.
to see that she's got some standards.
She has some standards.
Yeah. Like, there's just things I won't do.
But then
the same tongue that licked the butt is licking the hair that you're eating off a cat.
Yeah. And you're going to hear a little thing later about the other people who are addicted apparently to coffee enemas. Like they just do like 5 of these a day or whatever. And boy, they sure like to throw that language around of, well, we're looking for cleansing the toxins, so we're going to get some wellness coffee up my a-hole.
I guess, do you omit the cream and sugar when you do a coffee enema? Do you just go straight black coffee? Like,
I assume so. They would show these. This video. It would show them in the bathroom with holding the thing of coffee, like a
bag with a pipe, or a tube.
like a cup, and then there's a tube, and you can see the tube like going, and they're just like jamming the other end into their hooter and just waiting for it to finish, and then they go into this whole rigmarole about how you have to hurry up and get on the can, or else you're gonna have a problem. And I'm just like, what are you doing? You do this 5 times a day? And they're like, we don't get out much anymore because we're just so into our coffee enemas. Like,
all right. Gun to your head, coffee enema or licking a cat?
Once or continually?
Once. We'll say you just have to do it once, but the amount of time that it takes to give yourself a coffee enema is how much time you need to spend licking the cat. It's not just one. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a tabby?
Easily the coffee one. Easily.
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah, I do one enema over eating cat hair, and she eats it like ingests it, like
yeah.
And she goes to this doctor in this episode, and they show her what they called a boy's ear or a bong. What was it called? Chat room. It's where you have a big hairball in your gut. And it's called a Bezos or a Bezor. That's it. Bezor. That's it. Yeah. And it was the nastiest.
Bong.
It's basically a giant hairball you can't pass one way or the other. So, Jeff Bezos.
I like that Bobson Recline says, what do you call that? Idiot. Yes, that's what I call that. Exactly.
Anyway, that's a thing.
Oh, she turned away during that whole, like, a minute ago I looked and she was facing right at me after discussing licking the cat. She turned around, now she's facing the other way.
Yeah, she's horrified by this discussion.
Just a big sleeping lump of fur over there.
Well, the story I was trying to get to is this one.
I can see why you're putting it off.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. This has been all over the place, so we may as well just get it out here. A doctor discovers 4 live bees living in and feeding off the tears of a woman's eye. There's pictures of this.
There's some assumption that they're living off of her tears.
Yeah.
Is that
I mean, they're staying hydrated and getting whatever salt intake they need, I guess. I don't know. Right. But yeah, that's a weird assumption.
Off your tears.
Your tears. Bzz, bzz, tears. Young Taiwanese woman named He Took. Oh no, her name is just He. Sorry. He. It's throwing me off because it's He, like he.
Yes, he, yeah.
Anyway, young woman named He took herself to a hospital this week complaining of a swollen eye. She expected to be treated for a simple infection. Instead, the 29-year-old and her doctor were horrified to discover 4 bees living under her eyelids, feasting on her tears. Again, feasting on her tears. Doctors at Fuyin University Hospital in Taiwan described the incident as world first, having successfully managed to extract all 4 sweat bees alive from her tear duct. What, they set them free? Like, what do you do?
They really are living in her ducts, feeding off the moisture and salt of her tears.
I mean,
oh my God! Did you look at this photo?
Oh yeah, that's horrifying. I'm going to show it because we like to torture our listeners or watchers here. But look at that. They're living all up in her eye. I'm
just curious if Jeannie has completely checked out. Like,
she may not be here anymore. She may not be here anymore. But I feel like if I looked in the mirror real close, I would notice 4 bees in my eye.
You'd think.
If this picture if this photo is the indicator, right? Like, look at it. You can see the bees.
But I mean, that's like taking your eyelids and flipping them inside out. Did you have kids, by the way, at school? He used to do that all the time.
Regular? My brother Matt, he can do it now, and it's awesome. His Korean eyes are perfectly fold-overable. They're amazing. Anyway.
Wow. Yeah, I can't do it. I mean, I'm sure I could, but that's something I don't have any desire to do. But there were kids in schools like, yeah, look at me, I got my eyelids turned inside out. You know what? That's how you get bees. Yeah. That's how you get bees. You want bees? That's how you get bees.
That's right. Here's
perfectly foldable Korean eyes might be the winner already for
I mean, I don't know what it was. It's something about his eyes, his eyelids make it so easy. He just goes. In fact, I want to say he can almost do it without his hands. That he can almost just like squint really hard and they flip up, and now he just looks like an alien. It's really great. All right, here's a would you rather, okay?
All right. Oh, geez. Lick a cat, coffee enema, or 4 bees in your eye?
No, not that. So let's say it was, I was thinking of tears. Imagine let's say a cup. This is like 24 ounces right here that I got.
Yeah. Okay.
That much human tears.
Okay.
Cold, been in the fridge or whatever.
Sure.
Big glassy human tears or eating cat hair. Which would you
do? Whose tears are they?
The tears of your enemies. No, let me think. You don't have any enemies is the problem.
I don't have any enemies.
Let's just say
curse you, Richard Cheese.
Let's say it's the conflagration of many people.
Okay.
So it's a lot of. Let's say it's 100 people's tears.
Are they tears of laughter or tears of sadness?
Let's say they were extracted lawfully and with their consent.
The tears of the contestants. Thank you, Gidget.
Yeah, even better.
That's hilarious. The
even
tears
better.
of the contestants on America's Next Top Podcast.
There you go. So there's a little bit of Bridget and Gidget and
there's a little bit of Bridget in there, a little bit of Gidget, a little Rishi,
a little Jerry, a little bit of Jerry, a whole lot of Bill. I'll bet just a bunch of Bill in there.
Very little Brandon.
Yeah, not a lot of Brandon. In fact, I'm not sure there's any Brandon in there, but. Little Justin, even the judges got a little tear from me in there. So what would you rather do? And let's say it's a nice, cool, refreshing temperature.
And licking the cat is really, it's not just like take the cat and go, like that.
No.
It is actually trying to pull as much hair out and feast on it.
Yes. And eat it.
Yeah, I'll drink the tears. I'll drink the cold tears.
Oh, man. Can you imagine?
It's probably, it's
I mean, it's just salt water.
It's filtered through the ducts.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just salt water, but 2 or 3 of those people got like pink eye or something. So you're going to get.
Really? I don't know. That.
I don't know.
Is that a.
I just think on average, if you take 100 people's tears, you're going to end up with a couple of goobers. Anyway.
I don't like this game at all,
This
Scott.
is a terrible game. It's a terrible game.
Terrible game.
Anyway, that woman's okay and everything's fine.
So we're going to be playing in Vegas. Tears or cat licking?
Final bit here. Disney released a actual Lion King trailer for that remake thing, and it was good. I'm like legit excited about it. Weirdly, I'm actually calling it my birthday movie because it's the weekend of my birthday, so I want to see it for my birthday. I'll just give people a taste of the audio here. This is Scar early on.
Life's not fair, is it, my little friend? While some are born to feast, Others spend their lives in the dark.
So who's playing him again?
Welcome to Wakanda.
Oh, it's Chidafor Bakawel or whatever his name is. Alejafor Fertakalel. Is that it?
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Ejiofor, there it is. He's in it. He's Scar. I like him a lot. So that's cool.
I like the cast a lot. Like Donald Glover.
Mm-hmm.
You got you get your Childish Gambino as Simba. You got Queen Bee, Beyonce as Nala. James Earl Jones reprising his role as Mufasa.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, I'm so glad they got him to do that.
Keegan Michael Key. You got Eric Andre really as Azizi. Okay.
Yeah, you got.
Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen as Timon and Pumbaa.
Yeah, John Oliver as Zazu, the bird, which is perfect.
They actually could just use John Oliver live action instead of doing CGI bird, because John Oliver kind of looks like Zazu. I like John Oliver a lot. I'm certainly not.
He's the same guy as the bird. I mean, he basically. Who was the original bird? It was
Rowan Atkinson.
Rowan Atkinson, right? Perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect casting. Like that is the. Could you have a better cast for that?
It was
character?
Robert Guillaume, Scott.
Right. And that John Connie as Rafiki, that's cool because he's what's his name's dad in Wakanda movie, Black Panther.
Panther.
Which
actually was going to be my question. Like, Disney has both now. Why can't we get a Black Panther Lion King crossover film?
No reason. It's no reason.
No reason at all.
Nope.
We need this.
In fact, a couple of these actors, aren't they MCU people? Let's see. Well, I mean, Donald Glover was in a Star Wars movie, which is Disney owned.
Welcome to Wakanda. What a beautiful phrase. Welcome to Wakanda.
Wakanda forever.
Praise.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like Billy Eichner. Well done.
I'll give you $1 if you can name any of Meryl Streep's movies.
It's going to be good. I'm excited. I don't know why I'm excited. I love Lion King, so I think this looks cool, and I don't know. I'm not a hater on this stuff. I'm stoked about it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, I like this a lot. All right, I'm in.
What?
I'm in Lion King.
Gamza Zexy Hexy's Eye in the chat says, fun fact, singing voice of Simba, or for Simba, was Joseph Williams from Toto.
Oh, really?
You're saying it wasn't Ferris Bueller doing the voice of the singing? That's crazy.
All right.
That's crazy. All right.
Hakuna Wakanda. I like this. Actually, I think that needs to be. I think a T-shirt right now would sell. A Hakuna Wakanda T-shirt.
Yep. Wakanda forever.
And you've got Black Panther doing this with like Simba standing right in front of him.
Yeah,
I think it's a great T-shirt.
I like it. This is good. All right, we'll see what happens. Oh, and Joseph Williams is the son of John Williams? Shut up.
Oh, really?
Really?
Wow.
And he's with Toto? My worlds are colliding.
Does he bless the rains?
Yeah, but only when I forgot the name of the mountain.
Yeah.
What is it?
Kilimanjaro? Is that the
Kilimanjaro,
way?
yeah. Only when the Kilimanjaro thing happens or something.
Rises like an empress above the Serengeti.
There it is. That's the one. All right. Well done, Disney. Let's see what you can do. Let's take a break. When Wendy gets here, we'll talk about therapy stuff. We got a great question already. Plus, we'll take yours from Twitter if we have time. That hashtag to use is Ask Wendy with an I on the Wendy part. So Ask Wendy hashtag. That'll get your question on the air. You do that via Twitter, and you don't even have to be too personal about it. You can have general questions. It's totally fine. Whatever you want.
Yeah, and if you want to be anonymous, just say, keep me anonymous. And the fact that you posted this on Twitter out in public will have no bearing on your anonymity.
None. Zero. All right, Brian's going to regale us with a song, a tune maybe, from a band probably. What do you got over there?
I have got a band from Melbourne, Australia called Toby Toby. It's a duo. Wouldn't you expect a duo named Toby Toby to be two people named Toby?
I would.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, neither of them are named Toby.
Weird.
Renee Anderson and Jamie Barlow are Toby Toby. And they've got a really cool dream pop piano. I don't know, really a really cool sweeping sound to this that I really, really like. The brand new single is called Ice and Rum. Oh, I could go for some of that right now. The single comes out tomorrow, but you can hear it right here, right now on the morning stream. Toby, T-O-B-I, T-O-B-I, and their new single, Ice and Rum.
That's because you've always been a stubborn idiot.
I come from a long line of stubborn idiots.
Well, don't shout so.
And I'm addicted to coffee enemas.
This is the morning stream. Pop Mother Effin' I.
All right, we're back, everybody. Welcome back to the program.
Yeah.
I'm adding Wendy to this because that's the deal.
Well, it is the easiest way for us to get Wendy's involvement is by adding her to communication.
Yeah, I feel like we couldn't do it any other way. Oh, hello. That was sing-songy, your hello.
I know. I thought I'd start out with a song.
Wow. Wendy used to sing a lot.
You're Indy in the middle, except it's Indy spelled with just an I.
You know what? We haven't actually talked about this. When we were growing up and a chunk of my adulthood, and maybe even now, Wendy sang all the time. You were a big-time singing person.
Yeah, not now. Haven't for many years, but yeah, back in the day.
Yeah,
sure.
she was into it.
Well, if you come to Vegas, and I don't know what the current standings are if you're coming to Vegas or not, but I think we set up a karaoke.
Oh
visit.
yeah, time to have Wendy sing again. Yes, finally.
Yeah.
Here's the problem with karaoke.
All right, I like it. Go. What's wrong with it?
I don't sound good. I don't think anyone does. It's so hard to do it. It makes me feel crazy. Like, yeah, no, I'd rather just sing a personal song to some. No, I'm just kidding.
So you, Brian, you thought I was the
serenade
only
one of you.
You thought I was the only Johnson with like anti karaoke blood in me, but no.
Oh no, I never would have thought that. But
yeah, I'm not into it. But Wendy, I mean, look, nobody's going to make you do that ever. But back in the day, if there was some event or anything that required somebody had to sing something. You just Wendy was the one that did it. Mom too. Sometimes you guys would duet. I don't know if she can do it now. Do you know if she can do it now? Can Mom belt it out still? Because she used to be real good.
She's probably decent. But you know, when you get older, you start to sound like Ethel Merman. You know, that was not good impression of Ethel.
You've got the whole world on a plate. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Right, yeah. But that's when we're talking. Yeah, no, but I don't think she would want to for sure.
Probably not.
I think. All right, so Scott, you get into Vegas on Thursday, so I guess Wednesday night when I'm there, that is going to be karaoke night the night before.
That's a good idea. You do it before anyone else arrives. That's the way to do it.
Honestly, I think it has a lot to. It has a lot to do with alcohol. If you have alcohol, then
so does Las Vegas.
Right. But I think without it, it's like hyper awareness of the awkward and the out of tune, and it's not enjoyable.
It's because we haven't dulled all that stuff, right? Those senses are still.
We should do mushrooms, Scott, in Vegas, and then see what karaoke's like.
Yeah, let's see what happens then. Let's Wendy and Scott, two notorious non-drinkers. Let's make our first foray into the vices be mushrooms. That's a great idea.
Yeah, like straight to something hard. Like
they're natural. I mean, they are mushrooms are just like the most natural of all of the substances that you can abuse.
That's true.
Exactly.
That and pot, they're both good. And then all you need is some cow poo, right? Isn't that where it grows? The mushrooms? Isn't that the deal?
No.
My understanding was those mushrooms only come on the cow poo, the peyote, right? No? Am I wrong about this?
I don't know. I don't want to say one way or the other because I really don't know.
Mushroom drugs.
Proudly.
Cow poo. I'm just going to look it up.
Someone knows. To the
mushroom
internet.
Drugs, cow poo.
How to find mushrooms.
I'd love to look at your search history.
Why? Oh, here we go. It tells you what species of mushrooms, hallucinogenic mushrooms, grow on cow dung. So I was right, but they're not all from that, I guess. So
right. So there's a Venn diagram of cow dung mushrooms and
regular
drug mushrooms.
And there's the whole new group.
I'm trying to think of like mushrooms that
drug mushrooms.
Drug mushrooms.
I like the sound of that.
And you're going to have a whole new...
As opposed to pizza mushrooms.
Exactly.
A whole new generation of people are like, my mushrooms are only organic.
Yeah.
And they come from the scat of a whatever.
Of a grown man, yeah.
Ew.
I know, that's gross. Hey, so Wendy's here. She is a professional therapist. She helps people with real problems all the time, but she lowers herself down to the freaking chud level over here, where we talk to people about their problems, and we try to help out, and I think we do a pretty good job of that. Wendy, I already have a question for us this morning that I didn't even warn you about, so I guess we've been doing that lately anyway, so you're probably getting good at this. But
yeah, it's all good.
Here's your question, and let's see how this goes. We're going to keep this name anonymous. How do you manage a narcissist subordinate who is actively plotting against you and trying to get you fired by telling lies? Oh, that is some dark business.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So what? So
kill them with kindness, and if kindness doesn't work, use a knife.
Use a knife to kill them. So what do you do? Like, that seems, I mean, we're really just jumping right in on a hard business one, but what do you do in a case like that? And we don't have a lot of details, like who is this person subordinate to, and is there any recourse there? Can they go higher up and say, this person below me is doing this? I would like to fire them.
This person wrote me directly, so I can probably answer a few questions.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So I hate to jump straight to Donald Trump, but he's a great example.
Don't we all?
of his particular leadership style. It gives you a few clues into some diagnostic criteria here. Meaning he runs a bicycle type of organization, right? So he is the center of the wheel and everything is a spoke coming out of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what that does is it keeps anyone from being loyal to anyone but him. Right? Mm-hmm. And so it's a tactic that is very effective if you want to be a gross billionaire or whatever. But like and one of the other things that he does is he'll assign the same task to multiple people.
Right.
So then they're all competing with each other to please the king is really how that works, right? Yeah. And as a narcissist, and listen, if all of us cannot agree that the dude's a narcissist.
Oh yeah, no, I don't even care if you love Trump. You can
love him, but you've got to admit, like he meets all the criteria. But the idea being that, like, really, I'm the most important. I'm the center of the thing, and I need to maintain a certain structure and order so I can maintain that position. That is true characteristics of most narcissists, right? Yeah. And so in essence, it keeps people competing for his attention and et cetera. So there you go. Yeah. Here we have a narcissist that's below someone in a pecking order. So you have a very different situation happening, right? When you're actually have some power. That's the one way Donald Trump is not fully narcissistic, is he actually does have power, right? Often it is the belief that you should have. Now, he, of course, believes he should have more power or whatever, but the belief that you should have power, but you may not necessarily have the power. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you take a subordinate who is narcissistic and has those wounds and those issues, and you got to think about it tactically again. So, I mean, I gave Trump because I just read an article about that and I thought it was interesting, but kind of like you have a particular style or methodology to get your way and get the thing you need to feel important. And like that is something you've got to figure out. What is this person doing? So if we look at it just from what they wrote, they tell lies. They're trying to sabotage your efforts. Like, I don't know, maybe you guys, there's not a lot in that. What else can I go with here? What other?
They believe that they should have gotten the job that the other person has, that they were promoted into.
Right.
Okay. So they're bitter, resentful, and they're out to get you.
Sure.
Yeah, jealous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they can't just move on and play fair and play nice or whatever. So the attempts, you got to think, okay, the motive is they feel wronged. It's unfair. They should have gotten this job. And then the tactics are lying, making it generally unpleasant, you know. Mm-hmm. And a good question for this person is like, what did you see them do before this happened, before the promotion happened, or maybe that they weren't working together at that point? I don't know. But what was the style of this person beforehand? Because what happens is you get a lot of clues about how a person will treat someone before you're the person they're up against, right? So, you know, you could look at a long list of folks who have no longer work for Donald Trump and then see how they behaved when they were in his good graces. And then you don't want to hire them again if you're not ready for that similar kind of behavior, right? Or, you know, you can see that the track record, and that's a question. Does this person
They did have a track record. Before this person got promoted into their position over the narcissist had gotten already a reputation with the previous person in that role, the previous manager in that role, of being untrustworthy, conniving, that sort of thing.
Okay. All right. So
Oh my gosh, do you remember when Dad would call people connivers? Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was a big word.
Connivers.
He would say that. He'd say, "Oh, that guy's a real conniver," and I used to think, "What the hell is a conniver?" But anyway, sorry, that just reminded me of that.
This is a weird word when you listen to it. Conniver.
Yeah.
Conniver. Yeah. Okay. So you get a sense of, you know, sort of what this person's tactics are, and now what you got to do is expect them to be exactly what they've shown they already are, and prepare yourself for them to behave worse. Mm-hmm. So I think what ends up happening is there's this illusion of leadership, like I can change someone. And I think sometimes it works, but there's certain folks that with certain sort of mentalities that there's not a lot you're going to do to be able to shift that. That this gal is not suddenly going to be like, you know what, you did deserve this because you're working so hard. I mean, it's likely not going to happen where they shift on you. Right. So you got to get in self-protection, defensive mode would be my guess, which would probably include things like never have a meeting alone with them. You know, and this sucks. You know, it brings out twice as much work, but to really protect yourself, and, you know, maybe get a few things done is you change your methodology, your processes that maybe don't come naturally to you because you're not, you know, naturally inclined to manage a narcissist. Right. No one is. Yeah. Like there's a reason they can be very successful is they're scary. Mm-hmm. And they'll figure out where your weak points are, and they'll figure out how to mess with you. And so,
well, and they don't have limitations, right? I mean, exactly. You know, if you want to be the good employee, you want to be the good boss, the good manager, you have to kind of stay within these lines. And somebody who's doing this is like, great, I have all the freedoms. It's like the villain versus the hero, right? The villain can do whatever. The hero's like, well, I have to defeat the villain without killing them. I can't do that.
Right, exactly. That is a perfect way to think about it. And so, like all good superheroes, at least in the, oh, guys, look at me, Marvel universe, you need buddies. Mm-hmm. Right? You got to build your team. So I would genuinely recommend, we have a family member, Scott, who has a tendency to hire narcissists.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And is always confused by it. And I always say, can you run this by me before you hire someone? Just let me talk to you for one. You know, there's a tendency because they talk big and they're going to do great things and they're, you know, appealing and it's great. But then how to deal with that is one of the biggest challenges he's had is that he deals with them alone. Mm-hmm. Because he's their boss and he's the head of it, right? And so this dealing with a narcissist alone is dangerous because you as much as you think you're prepared, you don't know what you're doing when you're talking to someone who is plotting your revenge every morning. You know what I mean?
Right.
You are not, your brain does not operate the same way. And so you're going to take things for granted, normal social rules or, you know, interactions when you can't. So make sure there's other people around. Make sure your superiors know what's happening. You can be nice enough about it, right? Like diplomatic, but in the end, like you got to know that the goal of him right now is to mess things up. So maybe I don't know, you work with a team to figure out how best to handle his workload or whatever.
Well, we got a chat comment that stuck out to me. You tell me if this is a good way to handle this. And obviously it's not meant to be literal, but Sidian says, set the narcissist's house on fire. This will distract them with greater problems and allow you to formulate a better plan of attack. I think you could take that. You could take that to mean, you know, kind of foil their focus a little. Like, I don't mean anything dastardly, but like, give them a piece of work. You mean
like figuratively give them something else that distracts them,
that throws them off their their focus of this bad behavior and puts the spotlight on them to get something done. I mean, it's easy to say that,
also, but yeah, I mean that does bring up a good point. It does give them a more public way that if they fail, you have more recourse than the he said, she said kind of under the table. Well, you didn't hear it, but they were really conniving when I was on the phone with them, but they were, in this meeting, they were totally, when it was just me and him, he was totally backstabby. And but at least this way, if you give them a project that requires a very public success or failure route, then you do have more recourse for action at that point when they fail at it.
Have you two ever kicked a mountain lion?
No. As a matter of fact,
no.
Well, what day is it today? It's a Thursday. Yeah, as a matter of fact,
last week.
Never did.
Yeah. So if your plan is to light their house on fire, you got to be really prepared for that.
Yeah.
And I mean, the premise, I see what you're saying, absolutely, but that you're also assuming a normal response, which is, okay, well, they're going to work really hard and get some, all the pressure's on them. They don't want to look bad. You're assuming this person will either respond the way you would, and or they'll explode. And that's very possible. But it's almost maybe another thought. I mean, I do like the light in the house on fire because that's fun. That means something's going to happen. But another option is sort of like you're going to starve the beast a little bit.
Yeah.
And they may give up and want out, or they may, because there is something, and again, I'm sorry about Donald Trump, but man, if there's not a fight happening, he's bored and he'll create one. There's something about, and you've met people like this, that they're just kind of addicted to drama. There is something about that with the narcissistic personality of attention, action, stuff going on. Like they're stirring it up, they keep it going. Yeah. So if you can starve that, I mean, that'd be great. That might be difficult because they'll find a way to create it no matter what.
Yeah.
So it's tricky. I mean, truly, this is a terrible question for me because I am out. If I have a client that as I'm meeting with them, I have a sense that there's certain types of personality disorders going on, I refer them instantly to someone else because I can't do it. Because I can't suspend there's a response that is predictable to some extent. Most people have fairly predictable responses to certain things. It's one I can't predict and I can't work well with. So I'm terrible. So I would say quit your job, go somewhere else. is what I would personally do because I'm really bad at it. So,
right.
Kudos to you to survive that.
Yes. Let us know, anonymous listener, how that goes.
Yes.
I have one that I just want to shortly touch on, and then I have an actual one. Because this question's more for me and Brian. Someone asked on Twitter, why don't you ever have people of color on your show? And I would say, AJ, JJ comes on the show.
Right.
Every once in a while we get, back in the day, Manny would come on. And and then there's Justin Robert Young might be.
We don't know what his color is, but
we don't know where he's from. His origins are a mystery, but I'm pretty sure he might count. I don't know, but no.
Alex Albiso is Cuban. We got. Come on now. Come on.
Also, the question.
Don't troll us.
The question implies that we actively try not to do.
I don't think it does.
Using us with Todd and Aaron.
Okay. Todd and Aaron. You remember Todd and Aaron, Wendy? By the way,
was it a morning show?
Yeah, here in Salt Lake for when we were all teenagers.
Yeah.
Those guys, I've never told you about this. Those guys have a stream they do every day. Although I don't know if they're still doing it, but they left the radio station and do their own thing now, and they have a YouTube stream and then a YouTube video every day called the Morning Stream.
They do.
Yeah, and they get like two viewers. It's not like they're doing well with it, but it's just funny because now we're in this.
There are more people making the show than watching the show.
So you say you don't think this question is
no?
Okay, what do you
I think this question is I'd like to hear all the voices. I mean, it's true. There is and especially when you're just like the dominant white culture, you sort of hear things as, oh, it's the thing. But someone else hearing it's like, oh, it's more white people talking about white people stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you just want to hear more. I mean, that's my assumption is it's not it's not inherently critical. It's more of a, hey, where are the people of color? Do you know anybody? Like maybe we could have another, I don't know. I just hear it slightly differently because it is.
No, I get that. I totally get it. And here's the truth. Like, I guess it has implications that say that there's either an attempt to lock out, or more importantly, an attempt to not add voices of those kinds of differences. But the truth of it is, I mean, I wish every day Brian was black. Every day. I know. But my point is, if Brian was black, or if Nicole was black, or if Tom was black, or somebody else was brown, or we had 3 Asian people on the other end of it, like whatever, great. Sounds good to me. But nobody's actively avoiding it, though. But it's just not there. They're not there right now. Like, it's not a thing. Now, this could be, well, Scott, you're not looking for them. Okay, I got a lot to do. I could keep, like, I guess I'll look a little. I'll try, and when I can, I do. But it's, you know, like I loved when JJ was calling us all the time. He doesn't do it as much as he used to, but you know, that was great because it again brought a different voice to bear. But I think it's just too
Whoever
easy to
sent
go.
in a question, let's give you a little homework assignment. Find a couple people for Scott to talk to.
Yeah, give me a reason why.
Like, who do you want to hear from?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like,
That's right.
There's like, yeah, maybe there's a particular person that is out there in the podcasting world that is interesting to you, and like hook him up.
Yeah,
say, hey, this dude, he needs literally some color in his life.
Yeah,
come on.
Or have more info on your question. Also, you capitalize people of color, which is fine. I just don't know why that's capitalized
as a title. Also, should we stop calling ourselves white and call ourselves pink, because we are like a pinkish, sometimes greeny.
I mean, look
color.
at Brian. Look at Brian on this video right now. I mean, I don't even know
look
what
at you,
that
Scott,
is.
You're kind of red.
I know. I'm kind of, you know why? Because I used Kim's scrub today. I was talking about this earlier in the show. I've basically given myself forced sunburn with this scrub of hers, and it hurts. Freaking stings. I'm never doing that again. All that lady stuff should stay in the drawer where I found it. I'm not doing it anymore. No more lady stuff on my face.
Okay. That's probably good, but I'm totally changing the subject, but it's related to race.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
So, you know, the Saturday Night Live did a skit, and they had Charles, I forget the guy, Thompson, I forget his first name, but he was Charles Barkley.
Oh, Kenan Thompson.
Thank you, Kenan. And he comes on and talks about the Final Four championship, and they said, you know, you going to Minneapolis? And he's like, no, thank you. The only thing black up there are toenails. And it was really funny. I thought it was really funny. And then, you know, he just kind of talked about how they're lake people, and lake people are dodgy, and you know, but not as bad as river people. Anyway, it was just funny. Okay.
Yeah.
And I heard a morning radio guy who drives me crazy. I'm not even going to learn his name to tell you his name. And I just happened to be flipping on the station, and his co-host said, hey, did you hear about this SNL skit? And she kind of tells him the joke. And then he instantly just goes, oh, someone is snow blowing my driveway. Oh, that's
is
nice.
that happening right now? Who's doing that?
I thought this was part of the story.
I did too.
Can you hear it? Sorry. We had a massive
He says that somebody is snow blowing his driveway.
Yeah, you guys got hit with a big storm, I heard, like a bad one.
It suddenly scared me because it's right out our door. And they're, sweet. Okay. We had a massive storm. It was pretty cool. School got canceled again for the 3,000th time.
Oh my gosh, anyway. That's crazy. That never happens here.
Well, you don't live in the vortex of the death cold trap.
I guess so. In April. Jeez.
Not yet. Anyway, it's coming for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so sorry to interrupt myself with that. But anyway, the idea being, as soon as she brings up the story, the guy on the radio just goes, I can't take it anymore. Everyone has to bring up gender politics and black and white color. Like, it's your fault if you have to see it that way all the time. And he didn't even watch the clip, by the way, to see that it was actually funny.
Right.
But it made me think about this idea of, like, that's a white guy talking about other people saying, hey, here's a different perspective. It isn't all just your worldview. And so they're frustrated. You know, white guy's frustrated that someone else is saying, hey, there's another perspective. Hey, there's another perspective. Hey, there's a different way. Someone has a different experience than you. And, you know, in turn, it's like, oh, it's your fault for making this about color or gender. And it's like, you know what? You've never had to make anything about your color or your gender. Your identity has always been the one everyone thinks is the thing. And so it's just so frustrating because it's like echo chamber. I know the white American experience. Like, I like to hear someone else's take on it. So
yeah,
that's all.
I agree. I like it too. Again, that's why I liked when JJ called. JJ will hear this and say, "Oh, I can call him more often, and then we can get him on more."
Come on, JJ.
Which would be great because I'm like 100% with that. I just don't like sometimes the implied, and it may not be implied in this case. It's a tiny tweet without any context, but I don't like the implied idea that if there aren't as many, it's because someone's actively trying not to do it. Now, it could be you could say, well, we're not actively trying to do it, but also I don't want to force it. Like, I don't want to go, well, I really need a black guy, but he needs to be a nerd and that loves the MCU because we're talking about Wakanda today. Hey, that would help because they're all black, right? Like, I start to look like the white guy idiot in the room.
Right.
So I just, I'm all for diversity, but it's almost like we get the same question too. It's such a dude fest on your podcast. So many dudes are there. Like, I know. I try
it's two people. Like, it's a podcast of two people. We have guests, and we have, you know.
We're trying.
We're trying our best. Here's Wendy. She's a lady. She's a lady. She's a woman. Sorry.
The guy who tweeted us has a great profile pic, though, of he and his wife getting married, and he's wearing a Kylo Ren mask. And they've got lightsabers. So
look at that.
Wow, that's legit.
Nerd represent. So very cool.
I guess so. He's also a picture in his header of him when he was a little kid as Batman. So he's clearly a bit of a nerd.
Yeah. Clearly.
Yeah.
Find us some diversity, nerd.
But I always used to say, this sounds so dumb when I say it now, but I always used to say, and I've said it on the show before, when I was a teenager, I wanted a friend who was the following.
Oh, jeez.
I wanted him to be black. I wanted him to be a dwarf. I wanted him to be gay. And I wanted him to, I can't remember the other thing. But I wanted all the diversity possible.
In one person.
In one person that I could just go to movies with and hang out with and talk to. And because I had that feeling of like everyone around me is a copy of me.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have any diversity around me. And it was true then, less so now. It's not like it was then, but
it gives them the opportunity to say, "Hey, my best friend is a little person." When somebody says something, or "My best friend is black."
That's what I'm just thinking. He's got the built-in. My best friend is built all into one.
Exactly.
I mean, I had this. I had this all worked out, and at the time, I had this black friend I worked with named Keith, who thought I was crazy. He's like, "You're never going to find that." Like, why won't I find that? And he goes, well, we have our own issues with discrimination from within the black community. And it's usually toward, at the time he said that like his dad was super hardcore anti-gay. And I remember thinking, what? That can't be. Everyone who's not white is open and rad. All the white people are lame. I mean, I had a lot of funny ideas with them, but I really wanted this fake person to exist. And I wanted so bad to be his friend. And I don't know why. Like, even now it sounds attractive, like a thing I would want to do. I want to go to dinner and a movie with, let's give him a name. Let's call him Paul. I want to take Paul out, and I want to go hang out and go to the mall and hear about his life and then say, all right, see you next week. We'll hang out some more. Come over for the Super Bowl or whatever. Like,
I love that you want to go to the mall. 9? Holy cow.
Well, anyway, I think we've once again solved everyone's problems
No.
and had some fun while we did it. I know we can get feedback from that first thing, so I look forward to that because I want to see how that goes, because that's no fun for anybody. I worked for a narcissist for years and years and years who still owes me $80,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He's basically
say goodbye to that.
He's Trump,
but he's torn because this guy is a little person, black and gay.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do. Yeah, I don't want to.
No, it's a long story, but people always ask me why I have such a seething hatred for Trump, regardless of whether he's president or not. And I think I think part of it is I had that real life experience of working for and with somebody who behaved exactly like this, like exactly like it. So whenever I see a touch of it, a tinge of it, like just saying something dumb like, there's never been a greater moment than this one, or there's never been a bigger, or that thing. I hear it in my head from this boss who owes me $80,000.
Yeah, that's rough.
And will never pay me. Anyway.
Also, Trump did a tour of Mount Vernon a year ago. Did you happen to see this article?
No.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's like a 45-minute special tour. Like, this is the first president of this country. You are now the president. Like, this should be a moment. But as we know, he's no, student of history or pretty much anything. And he just was like bored, like picking at the walls. He was just like, why didn't he put his name on this? Like, you got to put your name on everything.
He actually said that? I'm going to put your name on it?
It's crazy because it's not called Washington's house. It's called Mount Vernon.
Wow.
Right. Right.
Like it was bizarre.
There's some guy named Vernon. Like
a guy named Vernon. Who's Vernon?
It was incredible.
What does Vernon ever do?
Yeah. Who's this Vernon? He's very good people.
And the tour guide said basically, like, I just kept thinking, how do I get him interested? So he just spent as much time talking about how he owned land and that he was a builder.
Yeah.
Like, just whatever Trump wants to hear. And
that's all
it's
he
a little
can
bit
do.
of like, and that's part of it. There's an accommodation that sort of occurs with a personality that is so dominant and so I mean, let's understand narcissism just really quickly. It's not like you're just kind of suddenly narcissistic after living like a normal life. There's things that occur in your younger years that some of it's personality combined with maybe events or a parent that is already a certain type of person, narcissists themselves or other things. So really there's just a gaping hole in there. And, all the fame and accolades and I need to be the best and everyone needs to love me and praise me. And, I need to be seen as all these wonderful things. That's from a deep insecurity. I'm not talking about Trump now because I don't know. I have not sat down with him. And there's the Goldwater rule where we can't diagnose him from far away. But yeah, I mean, so actually going back to this emailer person.
Wait, what's the Goldwater rule? Is it
named after Barry Goldwater?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Essentially, I mean, he was diagnosable.
Yeah.
And sort of, clinicians, it's like the board of psychiatry and stuff got together and essentially said like, we need to regulate ourselves here a little bit. It's so easy to armchair analyze someone from far away. Essentially it's like you cannot publicly diagnose someone unless you've actually seen the patient.
Oh, okay. And that's just like a general guideline. It's not like some kind of
general guideline. Yeah. And it's not like some law or something, but it's been very tested in the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah, I imagine so. Yeah. I see it every day. Somebody's always got some diagnosis, or they'll look at like the, I forgot the name of the. Yeah, I can't remember, but they have these checklists, and this is like, pretty much all those things. That's crazy. And but then I hadn't heard the actual. I mean, I've heard plenty of people say, well, you can't do that, but I didn't know it had a name, and it was Goldwater.
Yeah, and it's because they did it before with a public figure and
interesting
caused problems.
What did they turn out to be wrong?
Yeah, they were right again, but that time. But taking like when you work with somebody, again, this kind of idea that you're going to try all the methodology that comes naturally, or you're going to try and figure it out, and you are working 1,000 times harder than that person to make a relationship work, or the business situation go smoothly. And they're not. And if you feel yourself doing that, then it's pretty clear you're in a situation that you're not going to win. And so, you've got to figure out some different tactics. And the guy, Scott, you and I both know, I mean, the amount of money he has lost because he keeps hiring narcissists is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so, maybe double check, why am I attracted to narcissists? What's going on there? Like, what is my need to, I want, we all have our motives, right? So Scott, you get triggered by Trump because a narcissist owes you $80,000, right? Like an obvious connection maybe you hadn't made before, but it's really helpful once you make some of those. Yeah.
Like, well, now it's just so obvious. I just see it every time I hear anything. And I mean, this is a bit of an admission for me because I wish I had a more principled reason. I mean, I think I do too, but I wish I had other more powerful reasons why. Like, child separation is really, all that stuff sucks. It's just, I know that my gut emotional response is actually coming from this familiarity thing. I just know it because when he'll talk, I'll go, oh my gosh, it's like that meeting that one time. Or he'll say a thing and then I know he's lying and I'm like, I just see it. I already know he's lying because I've seen this on the face of other people on a daily basis where I had to like suck it up and keep moving because it was my job. And so I think that's why I'm so overly sensitive to it. Like straight up, it's not, it's less, I mean, I don't know what the dividing line or what the percentages are, but it's less about politics than it is about my own PTSD with people like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so.
Well, and self care is a big deal here with when you do work in an environment like that. You know, obviously quitting is probably a great idea for people if they can, or moving along, or, you know, but in this case, the person's below them. And so it's a different kind of, you know, if your boss is the narcissist, it's a different thing than when subordinates are narcissists, because it's, I mean, yeah, it's tricky. So make sure you're, oh man, that's stressful. I do not wish that on anybody.
It sucks because then you got to look forward to it every day. You know, you have to go deal with it. I feel for this person, and a follow-up would be great just to see how things go.
So real quick, diversity, speaking of a little bit, I did a podcast this morning with Patrick.
Oh, the Phileas Club, eh? Yeah,
the Phileas Club. And it was on being an expat or an immigrant in other countries and sort of traveling around a little bit. And, the guy, I keep saying his name wrong. Mayank, I think I'm saying it wrong. Anyway, from India. And I said, oh yeah, where are you from? He's like, I live in Salt Lake City. So he's
no way.
He's a listener. He found you at some point and then hooked up with Patrick. Anyway, and he's lived there since 2001. And we talked about that transition and we were just laughing about all sorts of things. So if you're bored, anyone, check it out. Phileas Club.
Yeah,
we talk about expatriate funny stuff.
I want to go to lunch with that guy. See, there's some diversity.
Yes, there you go.
Yep.
He's awesome.
He's from India. He's got a name that's totally not like my lame Scandinavian name. Like, there's my guy.
Can't ever say it right.
He may not be a midget. He may not be gay. I said midget. Sorry, everybody. I know that's not the word we get to use anymore, but it's in there. It's part of me.
There are people like little people, black gay people that were writing into you right now that just deleted the email and said, no, forget it. He's not woke.
He's
woke enough. I'm not finishing this email.
I'm half
okay,
woke.
So Scott, what other words are in there for?
For what? Sorry, you cut off at the end. Words.
What other words are in there?
Little people. Or you mean what words I shouldn't say, or do you mean words I should use? Oh, shouldn't say. See, this is the problem. We had a dad who was great at disarming otherwise potentially offensive terms. So he would say, I've said this on the show before, but he would refer to the Korean siblings, my sisters and my brother, as chinks all the time. I mean, even saying that on the air is going to freak somebody out. But he used to do that, but he did it in such a disarming and what's the name of that movie?
Term of Endearment.
Term of Endearment.
It's strange.
It was really weird.
I have to really work to hear that the way it's bad.
Well, and so did the Koreans, because we would be out somewhere. My brother Matt, I'll never forget this. We were on a bus going to school, and my brother Matt, who is of Korean descent, and also the one that, was the most grown up in Korea and then came here, didn't know the language and all that. He's 11 years old or something. Some kid on the bus called him a chink out loud. And I've never seen such a look of, I don't understand what's happening on anyone's face before, like I saw it that day, because he just looked like, wait a minute, that's that word Dad says. And
when he's telling me to get my shoes on.
When he's telling me to get my shoes on because we're late for church or whatever. And this guy's saying it, but obviously he's pissed and looks like it's supposed to be, like he didn't understand that was supposed to be an insult, but he knew it was somehow. Like, it was real weird. So it's hard because a lot of that stuff I think of sometimes. Like, Dad would say colored, even though no one said, you're not supposed to say that.
Yeah, no one No one at the time said that. It's just him.
It was just Dad, and he just couldn't help it. He'd say, I mean, and he would always, again, he was using it in this way that was, you never questioned him. You never went, oh my gosh, Dad, come on, the racism just pouring out of you. It was him saying, well, now I met this guy the other day downtown. He was colored and blah, blah, blah. And then he continued the conversation. And it would always end up being some cool experience and nice relationship, friendship thing. But he would use this terminology. And so growing up with that, you had to remind yourself to not do it. So when I yell out midget, it's just, I mean, I watched Time Bandits like 50 times. That thing is full of little people. And at the time, everybody called them midgets. And it's hard for me to break it. It's just hard.
Yeah.
So,
but you're trying. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm trying. And the chat room even says, just like Scott says horrible things sometimes, but we know he doesn't mean it. It's like that with it was like that with my dad, and it wasn't even horrible. It was just, you know, if you say round up the chinks, we're late for church, that meant nothing but that's funny because Matt's slow and the girls take too long. And he called me and Wendy.
I'm pretty sure I thought I was a chink the whole time.
Well, and he would sometimes alternatively call you and me the whiteys in the house.
Pasties.
But I never once. There was never any ire in it.
Crackers.
Yeah, it was never any ire in any of it. Never any meanness. Never any any of that stuff. So if anything, I wish I was better at that. Yeah.
I've made it a note and a habit to whenever I'm telling a story that I'd never say anything about the person's race or gender, you know, any of those. But I will always say if it was a white guy I was talking to. I'm like, I was talking to this white guy. My kids are like, okay. We're in Minnesota, Mom. Pretty much all of them are going to be white guys.
No, that's interesting. I'm trying to think of how that would. I feel like people would think I was being really.
You should do it. Just try it for a week. It's just only label the race of the white heterosexual. I was talking to a white heterosexual.
Yeah, I was
talking to this white fella yesterday.
I was talking to this white straight guy at the Walmart, and. You know what? That's interesting. Well. That's interesting. I mean, because you don't think about it.
In front of me on the road today. Wouldn't you know it? White fella.
It's always some white guy.
It's always some white guy.
All right. Well, this is all good. Wendy, we don't know if are you coming or we don't know?
Yes, I'm coming.
Oh, you are coming. Yay! Okay. The reason I thought that was true is because I guess Misha's coming with us. She's going to be in with Kim and I. So my other sister. I almost said Korean sister. I should say Wendy, my white sister, and then my Korean sister. See, I did it again. Then my other sister. She's going to drive up with us and then stay with you. And then
she's my roommate.
Then she's going to stay and hang around with, I guess, she has family there as well from Ken's side. So they're going to.
So she's not going to come and do any of the.
Oh, she hates all that stuff. She's not going to.
I think she'll be my date on Saturday.
She'll come to that. Cool. Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah. And she likes. Oh, I almost gave away a thing we're doing, Brian. I won't say it. But she likes that place we're talking about. So does Kim. And Wendy will, too. I just can't say it out loud.
You got to tell me what I'm supposed to be doing there and where to be and all that.
We'll fill you in. I'll get you on a little email chain with us and
nice.
let you know.
Nothing crazy, just so you know. Don't feel nervous about it.
Waiting on one last contract. And it's like an inverted pyramid where this one contract is holding up all of these other decisions and locations to make sure that things all work perfectly. So
right. So that, it is going to be great. It's going to be so much fun. It's kind of been a long road getting here from there, but we're there almost, and it's going to be great. So fun times. Yes. Nice, relaxed, cool,
I'm excited.
Exciting, fun time.
I'm going to burn to death because I haven't seen the sun in 5 years.
So you're going to be driving in with Scott and Kim.
No. She's flying.
No, I will fly.
Okay. Yeah, Misha, she's flying from Minnesota. Misha's driving up with us from here, from Salt Lake.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you realize you're saying driving up?
Driving down. That's what I meant.
Driving south, yeah.
Well, look, it's all relative, right? Like in real space, Star Trek ships don't just show up looking at each other perfectly flat. Like they're going to come all in at weird angles because there is no up or down. So the way I think of it is, it's up somewhere. Like if I go to
basically our maps, because they show the United States with Canada north and Mexico south, that we don't have that. That's considered right side up to us.
But if that was flipped because someone else decided to make it, It could be sideways. You'd be going east to get down there because that's what we would call east. See, it's crazy once you think about it.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, let's put your brain around that one. All right, Wendy, have a good time. Wendy Dunford on Instagram, and she's on Twitter, but we never remember the name. It's Therapy Thursdays or Day, something. I don't know what it is, but it's out there. So enjoy it, have fun, and we'll see you next week. And then a week after that, we'll see you in Vegas.
Yeah,
Vegas.
Wow, in 2 weeks is Overpants.
2 weeks. Oh my
2
gosh,
weeks.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
I'll be in a car right now. All right.
Glad we have that nailed down at least. At least that is.
Yeah, the Overwatch Overpants thing is happening, guys. And you're gonna get. I found all the lanyards. We're gonna have full on lanyard tags and everything. So.
Good. Excellent. Yep. I was wondering about that. So,
yep.
Yeah, you and I need to get together on that because I need to send a visual of what the badges are going to look like to the people who need to see the badges.
Oh, that's good to know because I'll make those today and send you that so you can forward it right over to them. Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfection.
And logos and stuff like that. But we'll talk.
They just don't want any penises and stuff, right?
I guess. I mean, they didn't say no penises.
That's true. If they didn't say no penises, maybe we're in.
That's my Las Vegas biography. They didn't say no penises.
Exactly. All right. Hey, I heard there's a bonus mashup in here, but I haven't actually looked. Oh, yeah, there is.
Oh, cool.
It's called Old Man Impressions. Would you like to hear this?
I'd love to, yes.
I haven't heard this, but Jamie put it together. It is.
I can kind of guess from the title what it's going to be, but I might be wrong. I don't want to assume.
Don't have any idea what this is going to be. We're going to find out. Here we go. Check it out.
I'm 81. It takes a while. Give me a minute. Get off my house, you bastard.
Yeah.
Make sure you put a doily underneath my candy dish.
Yeah.
This actually tastes better than the usual brownies we get. These aren't bad. What's in this?
Human remains. That's all they would sing. It's Baby It's Old.
Saying Baby It's Old Outside?
Baby It's Old Outside. No, I'm kidding. Made that whole thing
really
made
can't stay.
Now, what was the song
What's
about?
the song about I've
again?
got to go away.
You don't have to scream and shout. You need to help me with my colostomy bag. Hey, we're capturing it on the old Victrola.
Yeah.
Back in my day,
we had a fish.
I don't have that function turned on in my personal computer device.
That's crazy.
I remember when Herman Melville wrote Moby Dick. He kind of got a few things wrong, but we were willing to let it go.
Colostomy bag leaking.
Good to hear. Say, I give you a lollipop if you squeeze my testicles.
Oh my gosh!
I'm leaving. I'm going away and I'm not coming back. Hear the rap music today. It's all just fat stacks of cash and how many people I'm fornicating. Get out of here. No smoking. Take that. Maybe now you'll think again about smoking in the balcony.
It's really good. Didn't realize we did that many old man voices all the time.
I didn't realize it either, but and I feel like our Statler and Waldorf needs to become a.
It's not bad. It's kind of like dead
bad.
on.
Yeah. The problem is we both do Waldorf.
Oh, do we? I don't know.
One of us needs to do the Statler voice.
Yeah, and I don't do him at all.
I'll workshop the Statler voice.
All right. We're both just good at the part.
Yeah, exactly.
The rest of it.
And really, I don't know which one of those two guys is Statler and which one is Waldorf. I think Statler is the.
I don't know.
The
actually,
shorter of the two.
Statler.
Yeah.
Hold on, Statler. Waldorf. Waldorf's the guy with the bigger nose.
Right, exactly. And the big eyes.
Yeah, Waldorf. That's right. Waldorf's that guy. Okay. And we have him down. It's the other guy we got to work on. Well, anyway. Oh, and
it's got to be a more nasal.
There you go. Hey, someone told me the other day that in Dark Crystal coverage on FilmSack that we screwed up.
Yeah. It's that. It's that we didn't mention enough of. Oh, never mind. No, somebody was complaining about Top Podcaster. I didn't talk enough about Warwick Davis's film roles.
Oh, okay. That's what it was. No, what it was is somebody told us that we kept saying on the thing that Frank Oz is the Chamberlain, which is, the guy. It's apparently he is the performer. So he's the puppetry performer, but the dude told me it's not his voice. So hold on a second. That really blows my mind because for my entire life, I thought that that he was the voice of him, as well as the puppetry guy. So I'm going to find this. Hold on. What's his name? Chamberlain.
Oh yeah, I thought it was in the trivia.
Here it is.
Trivia.
Barry Denon, whoever that is. He was a podling and the Chamberlain, so it's not him, which blows my mind. Oz.
Okay, wow.
I know, and I know other people are going to hear this and go, "What? Are you serious?" Yeah, it's not him. It's this Barry Denon guy he's done a billion other things, voices and stuff, but he's the Chamberlain, and it's not Frank Oz. That blows my mind. Anyway, because it was so Yoda. It was like.
It totally was, yeah. Though I thought we'd read it somewhere, is why we were bringing that up.
Yeah, blows my mind. All right, here's what else blows my mind. It's Thursday. That's insane. So that means that tomorrow is our TMS PMS episode of the show, brought to you by your support at patreon.com/TMS, and we'll be here at 3:30 Mountain Time for another episode that we'd like to do on the weekly. I'm pretty sure Dan will be here for that one. I got to check with him today. But there's that. Frogpants.com/TMS for everything else you might need. All right, Brian, you probably have a song to play at the end of the show.
I do. Paul Kavanaugh wrote in and said, with Game of Thrones returning this weekend, it seems like the perfect time for a surf guitar cover of the main theme. Boy, dude, you are so right. And this is such a great one. It just came out a few days ago. I'm a big fan of these guys, Los Straitjackets, and they've been doing stuff lately with another musician that I basically will buy anything from when it comes out, a guy named Nick Lowe. Nick Lowe, who did, Cruel to Be Kind, and did the original version of What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding that Elvis Costello covered. Anyway, Nick Lowe's awesome, and he's now working with Los Straitjackets, and it's a combo. It's a match made in heaven. Anyway, this is done without Nick Lowe, but it's brand new from Los Straitjackets, and it comes from an upcoming album that's going to get released in May, I believe, called Channel Surfing, or an EP. But they're smart, and they released this one now. It's Los Straitjackets and their cover of the theme from the Game of Thrones.
Oh, awesome. All right, we'll be back soon.
This is so awesome.
Yeah. And also enjoy Game of Thrones this Sunday. It's the premiere. So
yes.
Season 8, baby. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow for PM. Until then, take care. This show is part of the Frog Pants Network.
Frog Pants Network.
Get more shows like this at frogpants.com.
In the Utah?
In the Utah. Oh, I haven't heard from her in a while.
Utah.
I'll play her again.
You need to go up to Snowbird, leave something so that...
so she calls me.
So she'll call.
I miss her.
In the clip, in the Snowbird clip lost?